Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the village. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We made it, guys. We made it. And for those of us who are in the DMV area, listen, we made it to the end of another school year. So congratulations to you guys because we made it. Praise ye the Lord. Woo, we made it. So you know what that means? It's summertime, and I can't sing, but summertime. It is time for the summer. Our summer break is finally here. So, congratulations to all teachers and school leaders and principals. We made it another year done. Congratulations. And to all of our students, this is your time to relax, have fun, and enjoy your summer and continue to be safe. And don't forget, students, we want our students to continue to read, continue to practice their math skills, continue to learn even during the summer. Now, for our teachers, we want you to relax and have fun. Go on that vacation that you've been planning. But we also want you to take some time out to learn and to brush up on some skills this summer. So I want to know what you guys reading. Okay, so we're celebrating the summer, but we also want to talk about what we're reading because leaders are readers. So happy summer, and we're going to talk about it today. I have a wonderful guest that's going to be joining us today. So again, guys, we want to know what you're reading. Dr. WorthIt, come on in. Let's talk about our books that we're going to read this summer. Hey, Dr. WorthIt.
Hi, Dr. Ross. How are you?
Good. So, Village, we have our guest. She's not a stranger to the Village. This is Tangela Terrell, also known as Dr. WorthIt. She's an educator and author. And we're going to celebrate the end of the school year. And we're going to talk about some great books that we may want to read this summer, including her book as well. So, congratulations, Dr. WorthIt. We made it to another summer break. Woo!
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
so those
yes.
people are just joining us, welcome again to the Village. This week, we're celebrating the end of another school year, and we're talking about some great books that we want to read this summer. So we want to know what you're reading. So welcome again to the Village. We're a professional learning community where we come together to learn, to share, and to grow together. Mm-hmm. All right. So again, welcome to the Village. Please share this live with all your educator friends, all your teacher friends, all your colleagues, because again, we're celebrating the end of another school year, and we're going to talk about some great books. All right. So, Dr. WorthIt, reintroduce yourself to the Village. Those folks who may or may not have know you, and reintroduce yourself.
Hello, family of the Village. I am Tangela, Dr. WorthIt Terrell. I am an educator. I've been an educator for 23 years. I'm also a business owner. I own WorthIt Mental Health Wellness, where I teach parents and the layperson signs and symptoms of mental illnesses as it relates to children. I also teach adults how to identify signs of substance use disorders for adults. Within that realm, I also do public speaking to encourage people to get rid of the stigma and to understand that mental illness is not something to be ashamed of. It's real, and it's something that we should all be able to talk about freely to help to remove the stigma related to mental illnesses. So that's what I do. And now I'm an author. I'm so excited about being an author. So that is one of the greatest accomplishments that I can say that I have.
Well, congratulations, Dr. WorthIt. Listen, I want to hear from you, Dr. WorthIt, because I love that name, by the way. So y'all, excuse me, I'm going to just keep calling her Dr. WorthIt because I love it. Because she is what? Worth it.
Worth it. And so are you.
Exactly. So I want to know, like, how did you guys at your school? How did you guys celebrate or acknowledge the last day of school?
Well, we didn't.
I
We
know,
actually,
I know it was kind of weird, right? Because we have hybrid. We have the majority of the students are on Zoom. I know, so it was kind of weird, right?
yeah,
So
it was
what did
very
y'all do? Just log off?
pretty much we just we just told them have a great summer, we're gonna miss you, we're gonna love you, come we love you, come to see us next year, stop by our room and say hello. That's what we did today, but the majority of our fun was yesterday, and we did some different things on Zoom. We did some Kahoot games, and we did some scavenger hunt. They loved the scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
And we did bingo, virtual bingo. So we had a game day yesterday, and today was just calming down and saying goodbye.
Oh, yes. So normally at our school, we have this big parade on the last day of school. I call it a parade, but it's like our send off where the teachers are in the main hallways all lined up and they're cheering, and there's a lot of noise and noisemakers and pom poms, and we're cheering the students as they walk out. And then we all line up along the sidewalk and wave at the buses.
Yes.
They drive by, and the school buses are blowing the horns and students are waving. It's like a big deal.
Yeah.
But when 90% of your students are on Zoom,
Yeah.
it kind of lose the fun of our normal send off. So we still lined up outside and waved at the 20 students that were on the bus.
Yeah.
And the bus drivers blew the horns. But again, we just wanted to celebrate the students for making it to another school year and the end of another school year. So this was not the normal school year. So what is one of the things that you're going to take with you next school year, like a lesson learned or just anything from this year to next year?
Keep updated on technology. Right now, I don't want to ever lose the ability to jump right back in to virtual. That's something that I do not want to lose, because it was very hard getting acclimated to it. So if I think that if we push it into our regular classroom routines daily, and it becomes second nature for the kids, if something was to happen, which they say it could, COVID could come back really strong this fall and winter, if we've got to go back virtual, they're already ready to move back into the virtual world. So that's my takeaway. Do not lose those technology skills.
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yes, and I think that's something too that I definitely want to take away is being flexible and adaptable, and continue to be innovative. Our teachers this school year were so innovative because they had to be. And so we found ways to engage students, even engaging our parents and our community. So we definitely want to keep that. That same mindset of being innovative and thinking outside the box, because we made it work. So kudos to everyone who survived this school year. That's why we're celebrating. Want to kind of pause to say, we did it.
We did it.
Yes. So, guys, again, we're celebrating the end of the school year, but we also want to, take time out to think about what we're going to do this summer as it relates to our professional development. And one of the things that we can all do is to pick up a good book and read. So I want to know, what are you reading? Even if it's something for fun, we want to recommend those books as well. So put in the comments some book suggestions for other teachers or leaders to read this summer. So Dr. WorthIt, what you reading?
Right now, I'm finishing up "Switch on Your Brain" by Dr. Catherine Leaf, and it is about mental health and the relationship between the Word of God and your mental health. So it's really a good read. It's a great read, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I
So
was
is
able
that
to say
something
I
you're reading
just,
right now?
I'm sorry.
You say you're finishing up reading that
Yeah.
one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And yesterday I finished The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Woo! That was a good read.
That was good. That was good. What was that one about? I think I read that one.
Yes, it's about a young man that was killed by the police, and
Yes.
a
And
young
they
lady
made
is,
it into a movie as well.
and I've not seen it.
Yes, so
So
that's a good one. That is definitely a good one because with everything that's going on, with
yes,
Black Lives Matter, and everything that's going on in society with police
mm-hmm,
brutality, that is definitely a good read.
mm-hmm,
It's, excuse me, it's not based on a true story, but it definitely correlates or aligns to what the times that we are living in. So that is definitely a good read, and it's actually you can follow up with watching the movie.
yes.
Really good.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah,
Now
but
there's certain things that's different between the book and the movie, but they're both great. So it's
yeah,
really good. Really
yes.
good.
And yesterday I finished a book called "This Book is Anti-Racist" by Tiffany Jewell. And that's a book that we're reading with Prince George's County Public Schools. We're going to do a book group with the CEO, Dr. Monica Golson, and
Soror.
yes, and I will be facilitating some of the discussions this summer for the
Oh
book.
wow.
This book is anti-racist. I mean, whew, it's a
I-
short read, but
It's a short read. Okay.
it was packed with good stuff. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. Certain little things you didn't recognize, like it talks about microaggressions, and I don't think I've ever really thought about what microaggressions look like. And she talks about what microaggressions look like and how to deal with people who exhibit microaggressions. And good read, very good
Okay.
read. Yeah.
Wow. And I think we have a banner of that to put so people can write that book down. If you have
Mhm.
that, then we have it. Also, did you read How to Be an Anti-Racist?
No, I've
Our
not
book
read
from
that book.
I think that was our book from last year. So I read most of it. Actually, I was listening to it on Audible,
Hmm.
and that book was really good. And it was so complex that in the middle of the book, I was like, well, maybe I'm a racist. It was just the different definitions of what it means to be
Yes.
racist or be an anti-racist or not to be an
Hmm.
anti-racist. So it's a lot of vocabulary, and also what I like about the author is that he gave a lot of shared a lot of stories and
Right.
personal stories. So it's like a mix between this story, but also with this information, these facts and
Right.
data points to kind of really explain what it means to be an anti-racist. So I would love to compare how to be an anti-racist with this book is anti-racist.
I got to write that down. How to be.
Yeah, it's good. But it's now how to be an anti-racist, I have to admit. Now I was listening to it, and even listening to it, it was kind of a hard read or hard to listen. It was hard to
Hmm.
listen because it was so complex and so much information that I had to keep going back to really
Hmm.
digest the
Hmm.
information.
Hmm.
And one of the things that some of my friends and I, we were reading it together, and we all agreed that that is a book that you may want to have the book and listen to it as
Hmm.
well, so that you can go back, highlight, and take notes. So
Hmm.
just for all of you guys, if you do want to get How to Be an Anti-Racist and you want to listen to it, you may want to get the actual book as well.
Hmm. Hmm. I thought the
Just a
same
tip.
thing for the book Switch on Your Brain. I
Mhm.
listened to it on Audible as well. And I was like, as she went through, I was like, I need a hard copy of this. It's certain things that you need to see it and read it for
Mhm.
yourself. And like you said, highlight and make notes and things like that. So I think I'm gonna get the hard copy as well of Switch on Your Brain.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so now I haven't heard of that one. So what is that one about?
Switch on Your Brain. That's the one that talks about. mental health and how it relates to God's word. And how
Oh yeah.
God's word, yeah, it really talks about, it already tells you everything in the word about mental health, and I'm like, oh, that's what that means, kind of thing. So it's a really good read.
Okay,
It,
I
it,
would definitely be getting that one.
yes.
Definitely. All right.
Mhm.
So now, one of the things too we want to talk about is your book as well. So, any other suggestions before we recommend your book?
Um, let's see. Oh, how to lead when you're not in charge. Yes,
That's a
that's by Clay Scroggins. Ooh, he was tearing me up with that book. he, I love it because he had a lot of comic relief within the book, but he was, yeah, he was up and down my street, and I was like, wow. So because a lot of times I know myself, I'm a type A personality, and I need responsibility, and a lot of times your leaders in the school buildings, they won't relent and let you sort of push through and do what you want to do, and you're mad because they won't let you. And he talked about how you have to learn how to be a good follower in order to be a good leader. It's like, okay. I don't want to hear anymore.
you don't want to hear that.
So, he was talking about, if you're murmuring and complaining about your principal or your assistant principal, you're not being a good follower. And so how can God give you something more when you're not doing well with what he's already given you? I was like,
Oh
okay, that's enough. I don't want to listen to no more. Because I really did. I had to digest that because that was hard to hear about myself. And I would stop and I would say, okay, give me a day to think about this. How can I
wow.
implement and do better in these areas? Because he hit on a lot of good stuff. Now, the basis for it is he's a minister, and he talks about how when he was under the head minister, and he didn't really like everything that the head minister always talked about. And when he was given his own church to lead, he recognized that a lot of things that came from his background in him learning to lead when he wasn't in charge. And so it was a good read, and you can always transfer that information to education. It was good. It really
Oh,
was.
so, Tangela, Dr. WorthIt, you have to tell us about your book as well.
Sure. My book is called She's Dead, and it's a book about the mental health challenges that I went through as a child. And the funny thing is, I didn't realize that I was having mental breakdowns at that time. I didn't know, because I grew up poor and I lived in Alabama. And that's one of the things that Black folks in Alabama did not do. We did not see anyone for mental health. I didn't even know that was a thing. I
Right,
did
right.
not know that that was even a thing when I lived there. And as I went through my story and sharing the story about my mother passing away and everything that followed her death, I realized as an adult now, girl, you were suffering from several different things. One of the things, as I talked to my husband, I was just sort of talking through some of the things I was going to put in my book. And I recognized one of the things that happened to me as a child, first day of school as a first grader, some kids jumped me on the bus and beat me up. I'm 6 years old. They beat me. And the bus driver pulled them off and made me sit up front. And from that day until I graduated high school, I would pull my hair out.
Wow. Mhm.
Every day on that bus, I would look out the window and just pull my hair out. I didn't know that was a mental illness.
Yeah.
I did not know. And as I spoke to my husband about it, I stopped mid sentence and I said, that's trick. And it's a word I can't remember, but it's trick or something. I said, that's a mental illness. And I was stunned because I mean, this was last year when I recognized that I was suffering from mental illness from the trauma that I experienced on that bus
Right,
that day.
right.
So it's a lot of different stories about my life. And then I couple it with information about mental illness that was probably being suffered at that time, that I was going through at that time. And I give you resources and information about what is the mental illness and how you can get help. So that's the difference. It's just not a read about Dr. Worthit's life, but it also is a resource guide for you to help you on this journey. I especially would love for teenagers, because a lot of times our babies, they think they're going through it by themselves. And a lot of the things that I experienced as a child, as a youth, even to the point of contemplating suicide and telling my friends about it and taking the razor to school to do it in the bathroom,
Wow.
is in this book. And it talks about suicide and suicide prevention. It even talks about being bullied, to the point where I just didn't want to live anymore. When kids circle you and sing "Fatty Fatty 2x4 can't fit through the bathroom door," and I'm
Mhm.
in the middle crying. And it
Right.
talks about bullying, and it gives information about how to help your child if they're being bullied, because that is a trauma that a lot of our kids are dealing with, that could lead to other things that we don't even want to think about. So
Right.
that's my book, She's Dead. You can definitely order it now. It will. We are planning for it to be completely published by the end of this month, and we will be doing shipments in July. You can go to www.she'sdeadisaid.com to order the book today.
All right. Now that is this book is so timely because one of the things, dealing with the pandemic and distance learning and everything else, so many of our students are suffering from depression and anxiety, because of this
Hmm.
disruption in their learning, and not being able to socialize with friends and
Right.
not continue with their normal routine. Some of
Hmm.
our athletes are depressed because they can't play sports. So it's definitely something that is a great topic to talk about during this summer. Really read more about mental illness and how do we help students? How do we recognize the
Yes.
signs? Because even when we come back in the fall, like you said, we never know what's
Yes.
going to happen next school year.
Yes.
Even though we're planning to go back to 5 days face to face,
Hmm.
students may be still, suffering
Yeah.
from, this pandemic and different things. So that social emotional um, focus is going to be so important next school year. And
Yes.
even for our teachers, our staff, we
Yes.
need to kind of use this summer to, really focus on our mental health, making sure that we're okay,
Yes.
mentally and emotionally to go back to school 5 days a week,
Yes.
and face to face.
Yes.
So I know we talked about within the village the last time you were with us. We talked about mental health and how
Mhm.
important it is that we're taking care of our physical, emotional, and mental health. And it's, we need to make it normal to say,
Yes.
I'm going to see my counselor, I'm going to see my therapist. Let that be a normal conversation.
Yes.
Tomorrow I'm going to get my hair done, and on Wednesday I'm going to check in with my therapist. That needs to be a
Yes,
part of the
ma'am.
conversation, and just make it normal, especially
Normalize
in our
mental health.
community,
Yes.
where it's like this thing with, oh no, I can't talk about my mental health issues. No, let's talk about it,
Hmm.
because again, we're all suffering during this pandemic. We all have different emotions. We're losing loved ones. People are losing jobs.
Yes.
So we do need to kind of pause and check in with our emotions, our mental state, and make sure if we need to get help.
And we also need people who are courageous enough to stand against those who are stigmatizing mental illness. You
Yeah.
must be strong enough to stand against it. Just like we stand against racists and
Mhm.
bias, we must stand against those who stigmatize mental illness. That is a type of bias as well. So
Yes.
we have to make sure that if we're going to do it here, we got to do it here as well. So
Yeah.
make sure that your voice is heard when you hear someone saying, "Ooh, he crazy."
Mhm.
That's stigma.
Right,
That's
right.
stigmatized language. Say something. Speak up. Don't sit there and just act like nothing's happening. If you're not speaking up, you're complicit. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Worthit, for writing your book and being courageous for sharing your story. So I appreciate you. And
Thank you.
again, you gave us the information for finding your book. How can people follow you or find more information about your services?
Oh, you can go to WorthIt mhfa.com and you can book a training or you can book me as a speaker. And I also work with youth to help them with anxiety issues. You can also find me on Instagram at Dr. Worth It 20
All
and
right.
on Facebook at Dr. Worth It.
Definitely. And we want to make sure we put all of that information in the comments so that we can definitely reach out to you to get more information. Well, thank
Yes.
you for, celebrating the end of another successful school year with me and with the village. Thank you so
Yay.
much. And thank you for all of your book recommendations. I know I'm going to have to, my Amazon cart is going to get really full by the end of this week. So thank
Yes.
you again, Soror, and thank you, Dr. Birthday.
Thank you, Soror.
See
Bye.
you next time. All right, guys, that was just part one of our discussion about what books from our educators. And these are our village authors, okay? We definitely want to support our authors who have joined the village. We are celebrating another successful school year. We made it, even during the pandemic. So just check that one off the list. We did it. 2021 is done. All right. So, guys, what are you reading? Please share in the comments and join us on Thursday when we have another lineup of authors. So, we have, let's see, we're going to have Dr. Sharika Simone. She's going to be sharing information about her book, Death by Burnout. We're going to have Dr. Sheikah Houston, who's going to come and tell us more about her book, Women Who Lead in Education, featuring school principals. And she's going to be here with the village telling us more about her book. And then who else? Let's see. It's going to be some other people. You're going to have to come on Thursday, all right? I can go on and on about all of the amazing books that you should be reading this summer. Why? Because leaders are readers. So again, congratulations to all teachers and students. We made it. Happy summer. Have a great summer. And remember to read. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Village LG. And we'll see you on Thursday for part two. See you later.